Jesus promised us we can achieve the impossible. It's in the Gospel of Thomas, saying 9. So let's have a look at that saying. Jesus said, "Look, the sower went out, took a handful of seeds and scattered them. Some fell on the road, and the birds came and gathered them. Others fell on rock, and they didn't take root in the soil, and didn't produce heads of grain. Others fell among thorns, and the thorns choked them, and worms ate them. Others fell on good soil, and it produced a good crop. It yielded 60 per measure and 120 per measure." Gospel of Thomas, saying 9. Sounds familiar, right? You know the saying. It's in the Bible 3 times, in the Gospels of Mark, Matthew, and Luke. And it's very similar to what we find in the Bible. In the Bible, we get an explanation of what the saying means, but not in Thomas. In Thomas, it's left open to the listener, like all of the sayings in Thomas. The listener needs to discover his own interpretation to these sayings. Now, many scholars argue that the version in Thomas is more primitive, meaning it's an earlier version. It's closer to what Jesus actually said. So we need to take a fresh look at this saying to try and see what Jesus meant with this parable. Now, the seed, that's pretty obvious. It's the teachings of Jesus, the same like as the explanation that we find in the Bible. But the fact that it's a handful of seeds, that's important. In the previous saying 8 that we did in the previous video, we saw that the wise fisherman held on to this one fine fish and he let all the other fish go. And in that video, I explained that what that meant for the Jewish audience that Jesus were talking to was that the Hebrew Bible, our Old Testament, there's so much in there, so many rules and regulations that they had to follow. The teachings of Jesus was just a small fraction of that. And Jesus told them, you need to hold on to what is important and you need to let the rest go. And the same idea came out with the yoke that is light, the mustard seed. It's small, but the reward is so big. It's disproportionate. And there's many other, the same ideas repeated in different ways in the wise merchant as well. So in Thomas 9, again, Jesus repeats this idea of it's just a handful of seed. The seed is important. In Thomas 1, we see that the seed, the teachings of Jesus, gives life. But we also saw in Thomas 3, that a video that I also did, that you need to know who you are. If you know who you are, then if you do not know who you are, then you will live in poverty and you will become the poverty. So it's important that we know who we are. It's important that we know that you are a child of God. Thomas 9 brings these two ideas together. The seed, the teachings of Jesus is important, but so is the soil. In the Gospel of Thomas, time after time, the disciples got it wrong. They wanted to focus on Jesus. They wanted to focus outwardly for someone to save them, for someone to give them clarity and certainty. But then every time Jesus redirected them inward, they need to look inward as well. And this same idea now comes out in saying 9. Yes, the teachings of Jesus is important, but so is the soil. You need to make sure that the seed falls on good ground. Now, the soil might need to be prepared. You might need to do some work. You might need to make some changes to allow the seed, the teachings of Jesus, to really grow within you. It's not just about listening to what Jesus says. It's not just about reading your Bible. You need to make that part of who you are. Now, there's different reasons why the seed will not grow. And the explanation that we find in the Bible, that's very in line with, I think, how I see the problems from preventing the seed growing. It can be the stress of this life. It can be the pleasures of this world. But I think in Thomas, the listener needs to find his own interpretation, and for good reason, because The things that will prevent the teachings of Jesus to really take effect in your life, the things that will prevent that will be different for every person, because every one of us is different. Every one of us live in different lives. We have different problems. Now, what prevents the seed from growing in your life, you need to understand what that is, and you need to make sure that you allow the seed to grow. It might be stress and anxiety. It might be that you are too focused on worldly success. It might be false teachings, the worms eating up the seed. You need to make sure that you need to look inward. You need to do introspection, and you need to make sure that the teachings of Jesus will take effect in your life. It's not just about reading it. It's not just about listening to what a pastor says. You need to make these teachings part of your life. It needs to grow within you. Then we get to the crop. Now, in the Bible, it only goes up to 100-fold. It goes from 30 to 60 to 100. All the Gospels in the Bible only goes up to 100-fold. Even in good ancient agricultural conditions, a crop that yielded 7 to 10-fold, that would have been good. 30-fold, that would have been exceptional. 60 to 100 would be borderline miraculous. In Thomas, it goes up to 120-fold. Impossible. Jesus is saying, if you listen to my teachings, if you allow my teachings to become part of who you are, then you will see results. You will see the impossible happening in your life. You see, because the teachings of Jesus, it doesn't just change who you are. It changes who you are, but then in turn, that changes the world around you. We see that even in the Bible, where Jesus often says, it's your faith that healed you. You can change your world. Jesus says that we can move mountains we can bring something into existence by believing it's already there. Mark 11. In the Gospel of Thomas, we find this recurring idea of coming into being. It's about creating your world through faith. It's not, and the principles that Jesus taught. It's not a prosperity teaching, but it is about the fact that the teachings of Jesus, if it falls on good soil, can change who you are, and that can change your world. It can make you a better human being. It can allow you to shine more for God, but it also can change the world around you and give you a better life. Make sure that you know the teachings of Jesus. Make sure that it falls on good soil, and you will see the results. Thank you for watching.